Strangest laws in New York. Tales from the city that never sleeps and never lets things slip. Introduction. New York is a city of extremes. Towering skyscrapers, 24-hour subway rides, neighborhoods from every corner of the globe. And alongside all that energy, there is a web of laws that attempt to manage the mayhem. Some of these are entirely sensible. Others are delightfully peculiar. For a travel or culture channel audience, they offer both weird trivia and a deeper glimpse of how law and life intersect in the Big Apple. In this extended piece, we explore some of the strangest laws and ordinances on the books in New York, where you can and cannot do what you thought you could, and how even everyday behavior can carry legal weight. Public drinking. Your bottle might cost you a fine. In New York City, it remains illegal to carry or consume an open container of alcohol in most public spaces, sidewalks, parks, street corners, unless you're in a licensed establishment or participating in a permitted event. The key term is open container. Once the seal is broken or the drink is removed from where it was sold, it may constitute a violation. Many visitors assume that street drinking populates movies or music videos means it's tolerated, but in fact, it's strictly regulated. The takeaway: if you're strolling along with a beer or cocktail, it's safest to consume it where you bought it or in an authorized venue. 2. Horns are for emergencies. Only traffic in New York is famously frenetic. But despite the constant cacophony of city life, the law governing car horns is surprisingly strict. Drivers are only permitted to use the horn when there is an imminent danger, e.g., to warn a pedestrian who's stepping into the roadway or a vehicle that's swerving into your lane. Honking just because you're stuck in traffic or frustrated? That could shine a spotlight on you. The policy is meant to reduce noise pollution and maintain public peace. It's one of those laws many know in theory, but few remember in the moment. The legal nuances of cannabis and smoking. Since 2021, New York State has decriminalized and legalized possession of small amounts of cannabis for adults, 21 and over. However, legal doesn't mean anywhere. The rule of thumb in New York: wherever tobacco smoking is allowed, cannabis may also be permitted. But wherever smoking is already banned, parks, beaches, some public spaces, cannabis is likewise prohibited. For example, you might legally smoke on the sidewalk outside a bar, but you cannot light up inside a protected open space where smoking is banned or in a moving vehicle. And driving while under the influence remains a serious felony. Smoke-free parks and public spaces. Long before cannabis came into the picture, New York City had moved to ban smoking, tobacco, in public parks, beaches, and certain open space zones. The logic: if smoking is banned, then any substance smoked is also banned in that space. So even though cannabis may be legal under state law, if you're in a park or beach that prohibits any smoking, you're still breaking a rule. These no-smoking zones are clearly marked and enforced. Though enforcement may not always feel immediate, they are legally valid and fines are possible. 5. Jaywalking, crossing outside the lines, and what's changing. For decades, crossing the street outside of a marked crosswalk, the classic jaywalking, was technically illegal in New York, though enforcement was irregular and uneven. However, more recent reforms in New York City have decriminalized many jaywalking violations, recognizing that the old rules were disproportionately enforced and often captured ordinary slow-moving pedestrians rather than reckless ones. The updated reality: you may cross in unmarked places, but you don't have the right-of-way and must yield to vehicles. The old ticket for stepping off the curb scenario is increasingly rare. That said, crossing dangerously or causing an accident still can land you in legal trouble. Outdated, yet still on the books. Some laws seem nearly comical today, yet they remain valid because no one has bothered to repeal them. Examples: In New York, it is reportedly illegal to throw a ball at someone's head just for fun. Imagine a carefree game of catch turning into a fine. Wearing slippers in public after 10 p.m.? Yes, at least according to some older city-oriented rules, you risk a citation. On Sundays in certain boroughs, carrying an ice cream cone in your pocket is listed in quirky legal compilations as forbidden. While enforcement is more symbolic than real, the statute remains part of the patchwork. Such laws highlight how the past lingers in legal code. Housing rules. Who's living with you? In the city's housing maintenance code, there is, or at least was, a rule that a dwelling unit may not have more than 3 unrelated persons occupying a dwelling unit and maintaining a common household. That means if 4 college friends rent together but aren't classed as related, they might technically be violating this regulation. While enforcement is minimal and many modern leases override older codes, the fact that the law remains is a curious insight into how municipal regulation of small-scale housing still exists. 8. Parachuting and street performances. Not as free as you think. What if you fancy jumping out of a plane over Manhattan or performing a creative stunt on the exterior of a building? Certain New York City rules say you cannot parachute over the city simply for fun, only in cases of imminent danger or military order. In a similar vein, the Administrative Code prohibits any exhibition of climbing or scaling on the front or exterior of any house or building in many circumstances. Also banned, puppet shows from windows if they advertise or promote a business/sale. These rules reflect how the city regulates the use of its architecture, skyline, and public facade, as if saying, you can travel freely, but you cannot replicate a Bond-style scene on Fifth Avenue. Animal and fur-related oddities. In New York City, you cannot sell dog or cat hair, fur, as merchandise. The state's anti-cruelty provisions outlaw import, sale, offer for sale, transport, or otherwise market dog or cat fur. Meanwhile, in specific towns, local ordinances treat unusual pets differently. For example, ferrets may be banned in the city. The broader point, what may seem like a novelty trade or hobby, can bump into animal welfare law in surprising ways. The historic dancing ban and its legacy. Going back to 1926, the city's famed New York City cabaret law banned dancing in any public premises selling food or drink unless a cabaret license was obtained. That meant jazz clubs, bars, and restaurants needed a special permit just for dancing. The restriction was criticized as arbitrary, selectively enforced, and outdated. It was finally repealed in 2017. Its legacy remains a testament to how even the seemingly harmless act of dancing once needed legal approval in NYC. 1. Masks, disguises, and public identity. Another curious statute. In New York State, it is illegal to be masked or disguised in public in certain contexts. While originally linked to concerns like public safety or disguising intent, the rule remains relevant for costumed protests, masked parade participants, or individuals concealing identity without lawful reason. The law reminds us, freedom to express often has legal boundaries when identity and intent are concerned. Advice for travelers and creators. If you're visiting New York, and especially if you're making travel culture video content, these laws can serve as great hooks, but also practical reminders. Don't assume anything goes just because it looks like it does. Check local signage, especially in parks or beaches. Don't use your horn impulsively. Don't carry open alcohol on sidewalks. If you're shooting a fun scene, for example, a street performing puppet act, check whether you might need a permit.